Get your dirty hands off my counter before I call security. Victoria Blackwell snatches the Black American Express Centurion card and drops it on the floor. She watches Dr. Amara Sterling's face as the $5,000 credit card clatters across marble tiles. Pick it up, Victoria points at the floor. Then leave. Amara doesn't move. Victoria steps on the card with her designer heel, grinding it against cold stone. The boutique freezes. Customers gasp. A child stares wide-eyed. "Security!" Victoria shouts, jabbing her finger toward the door. "Escort this woman out immediately." Two guards approach. Amara's assistant trembles, phone recording everything. Victoria grabs Amara's wrist, nails digging into skin. "You people need to learn your place." She shoves Amara toward the exit. The billionaire CEO stumbles but doesn't fall. Victoria's victory smile spreads across her face like poison. She just destroyed a $4.5 billion deal. She just humiliated the wrong woman. She just ended her own world. What would you do if this happened to you? Drop your reaction below. Victoria has no idea she's being watched by 50,000 people live. 45 minutes earlier, Dr. Amara Sterling steps through the etched glass doors of Bellecourt Fine Jewelry wearing carefully chosen attire. Designer jeans from a boutique brand most people wouldn't recognize. A charcoal cashmere sweater that cost more than minimum wage workers earn in months. Italian leather boots with subtle craftsmanship that whispers rather than shouts wealth. Nothing flashy, nothing obvious. Just quiet, understated elegance that old money perfected generations ago. The boutique pulses with afternoon energy. Wealthy customers drift between display cases like sharks in an aquarium. Personal shoppers hover attentively, their practiced smiles worth millions in commission fees. Private viewing rooms hum with hushed negotiations over seven-figure purchases. Crystal champagne flutes catch light from antique chandeliers. The air smells like leather polish, expensive perfume, and the particular scent of serious money-changing hands. Amara approaches the main display counter where diamonds catch afternoon sunlight streaming through tall windows. The pieces glow like captured stars, necklaces worth more than houses, rings that could fund small businesses, bracelets containing more carats than most people see in lifetimes. Two junior sales associates notice her immediately. Sarah, a redhead with nervous energy, exchanges a loaded glance with her colleague Marcus. The look carries decades of retail training. Assess, categorize, prioritize. Their eyes take inventory young woman, black, casually dressed, no obvious wealth signals. Translation: probably not a serious customer. They busy themselves with invented tasks. Sarah reorganizes already perfect displays. Marcus studies paperwork that doesn't need attention. Both hope someone else handles the approaching interaction. From her glass-walled office overlooking the sales floor, store manager Victoria Blackwell observes every detail. Her predatory instincts activate as she studies Amara's appearance. Young black woman in casual clothes browsing their most exclusive merchandise triggers every bias alarm she's cultivated over 15 years in luxury retail. Victoria's mental calculation is swift and merciless. Wrong demographic, wrong attire, wrong everything for Bellecourt's carefully curated clientele. Emma Watson, the youngest associate, finally approaches with genuine politeness but visible hesitation. Her smile looks practiced but sincere. "Good afternoon," Emma says carefully. "Can I help you find something specific today? Or are you perhaps looking for directions to another store?" The question seems innocent enough, but the subtext cuts. "Are you sure you're in the right place?" "I'd like to see your most exclusive pieces," Amara responds with calm confidence. Emma's rehearsed smile wavers. She glances toward Victoria's office where her manager watches through glass like a hawk studying potential prey. "Of course," Emma lies smoothly. "Let me show you some of our beautiful pieces." But instead of leading Amara toward the museum-quality displays in the center of the store, Emma guides her toward the basic jewelry section near the entrance. The pieces here cost thousands rather than hundreds of thousands expensive by normal standards, but entry-level for Bellecourt's true clientele. Amara examines a simple diamond tennis bracelet while conducting her own examination of the store's social dynamics. She watches how other customers receive treatment. The elderly white woman in Chanel gets personal attention from two associates. Her purchases receive detailed provenance stories and complimentary champagne service. The middle-aged man in an expensive suit gets invited into a private viewing room where the truly spectacular pieces wait behind locked doors. Associates treat him like royalty, hanging on his every preference. Meanwhile, Amara stands alone except for Emma's reluctant supervision. The differential treatment creates a perfect case study in institutional bias. Amara files away every detail for future reference. Victoria emerges from her office like a predator who's identified weakness. Her heels click against marble floors with military precision as she crosses the boutique. Other associates automatically step aside, recognizing absolute authority. Victoria's smile doesn't reach her eyes, and Amara notices absolutely everything. Victoria positions herself strategically between Amara and the premium jewelry displays, her body language screaming territorial protection. She radiates the confidence of someone accustomed to making snap judgments about customer worthiness. "Good afternoon," Victoria says with professional coldness that could freeze champagne. "I'm Victoria Blackwell, the store manager. Is there something specific you're searching for today?" The words sound polite enough, but the subtext slices like a scalpel. "Why exactly are you here disrupting my carefully maintained environment?" "I'm interested in your rare jewelry collection," Amara replies evenly. Victoria's laugh sounds like breaking crystal. "Do you have an appointment with us? Our most exclusive pieces require advanced scheduling and pre-qualification procedures." I wasn't aware that shopping required appointments. "Well," Victoria's condescension drips like honey laced with arsenic. "Our established clientele typically understands our processes. They're familiar with how luxury retail actually operates." She pauses dramatically, letting the implications settle like dust on expensive surfaces. "Are you familiar with our price points? Some individual pieces start at 6 figures. Our signature collections reach 7 figures. It's not uncommon for serious customers to spend more than most people's annual salaries on a single purchase." The insult hangs in the boutique's perfumed air like incense. Other customers abandon their conversations to watch the developing drama. An elderly woman wearing pearl earrings the size of grapes nods approvingly at Victoria's gatekeeping performance. "I'd like to see your rare pink diamond collection," Amara states with unwavering clarity. Victoria's professional mask disintegrates completely. Her eyes narrow to calculating slits as she processes this audacious request from someone she's already categorized as unsuitable. "Those particular pieces require extensive pre-qualification protocols," Victoria lies smoothly. "Financial documentation, references from existing clients, verification of purchase history with comparable establishments." She physically guides Amara away from the exclusive section like she's herding livestock away from forbidden pastures. "Perhaps we should start with something more realistic. Something within your actual range rather than aspirational browsing." Amara reaches into her purse and produces an elegant business card embossed with subtle gold lettering. "Sterling Dynamics. I'm the Chief Executive Officer." Victoria accepts the card with obvious reluctance, glancing at it for perhaps 2 seconds before sliding it back across the counter like contaminated evidence. "I'm sure you understand we serve a very specific clientele here," Victoria continues relentlessly. "Our standards extend beyond simply having money. It's about understanding our culture, our values, our community expectations." She emphasizes "our" like a verbal weapon designed to exclude. "I'd like to speak with the store owner." "The owner trusts my judgment completely regarding customer interactions," Victoria replies sharply. "I have full discretionary authority over all sales decisions, and I've determined that you're not an appropriate fit for our brand identity." Amara's fingers drum once against marble, and Victoria should be running for her life. Victoria orchestrates her degradation campaign with the precision of a seasoned torturer. She summons both security guards with a sharp finger snap, treating Amara like suspicious merchandise requiring immediate inspection. All expensive purchases require comprehensive verification protocols, Victoria announces loudly enough for every customer to hear clearly. I'll need 3 forms of official identification immediately. Amara complies with dignified silence. She produces her driver's license, passport, and corporate identification card. Victoria examines each document with theatrical suspicion that would embarrass community theater actors. The driver's license gets held against ceiling lights, searching for security features. Victoria studies the photograph with a magnifying glass, comparing facial features like a forensic investigator. The passport receives similar treatment, every page examined, every stamp scrutinized, every detail questioned. "Jennifer!" Victoria calls to her assistant with the urgency of someone discovering criminal evidence. "I need immediate verification of license authenticity. Check signature patterns against our fraud database." 27 minutes pass in retail purgatory. Victoria deliberately serves 3 other customers while Amara waits like furniture. Each transaction receives warm personal attention, detailed jewelry histories, complimentary champagne service, and invitations to private viewing rooms. The white customers get treated like visiting royalty. Amara gets treated like a suspected shoplifter. Finally, inevitably, the black American Express Centurion card emerges. Victoria recoils like she's encountered radioactive material. She picks up the card using a silk handkerchief from the display counter, avoiding any direct skin contact with the metal. "Our security systems show irregular patterns with these particular card types," Victoria lies with practiced smoothness. "I'm required to call American Express for immediate verification and fraud investigation." She dials the customer service number with deliberate slowness, making each digit a performance. Other customers whisper among themselves while pointing discreetly. Some take photographs. The humiliation becomes public entertainment. "Yes, this is Victoria Blackwell from Bellacourt Fine Jewelry on Madison Avenue," she speaks into the phone with official authority. "We have a highly suspicious credit card situation requiring immediate verification and possible fraud investigation." Amara's assistant raises her smartphone to document the discrimination. Victoria's head snaps toward her like a striking cobra detecting movement. "Absolutely no recording permitted," Victoria shrieks with sudden fury. "Strict store policy. Security guards, remove that phone immediately or escort both women from the premises." The guards hesitate. Something fundamental feels wrong about this entire situation, but they depend on Victoria for their paychecks. Victoria circles back to Amara with renewed venom coursing through her veins. She leans close enough for her perfume to invade Amara's space, close enough for her breath to brush against Amara's ear. "Do you have any other cards that might actually work here?" Victoria whispers with intimate cruelty. "Perhaps something more realistic for someone in your particular circumstances?" The final insult lands perfectly. Victoria steps back with crossed arms, waiting for Amara to break into tears, storm out in rage, or collapse under the weight of public humiliation. Instead, something extraordinary happens that Victoria will replay in nightmares for years. Amara's smile appears cold, predatory, and absolutely devastating to anyone who recognizes what it means. Amara excuses herself to the boutique's marble restroom with the composure of someone attending a routine business meeting. Her assistant follows closely, heels echoing off imported Italian stone walls. Once the heavy door clicks shut and locks with finality, Amara allows herself exactly 10 seconds of human vulnerability. Her shoulders shake with suppressed rage. Her breath catches in her throat like broken glass. The humiliation burns through her chest with acid intensity, threatening to consume her professional composure entirely. The pain cuts deeper because it's familiar, 1,000 smaller indignities accumulated over decades of success. Every assumption about her competence, Every surprised reaction to her achievements, every subtle suggestion that she doesn't belong in spaces her own money could purchase outright. Then the chief executive officer returns with vengeance. Her phone appears like a weapon. Speed dial connects to her head of acquisitions before the first ring finishes. "Marcus, cancel the Bellecourt acquisition immediately." Her voice cuts through the air like surgical steel. "Pull our entire offer, every single dollar." "But Amara, we've invested 18 months in due diligence. $4.5 billion off the table. Execute withdrawal protocols now." Click. Her assistant reveals the nuclear option with trembling excitement. "I live-streamed the entire encounter to your private social media accounts. 2.3 million followers watched everything in real time." Amara's phone explodes with notifications faster than the screen can refresh. Comments flood in like a digital tsunami. The anger is volcanic, spreading across platforms with viral intensity. #Bellecourt. Discrimination trends nationally within 12 minutes. 3 more calls follow in rapid succession, each one a strategic missile launch. Legal department prepare comprehensive discrimination case documentation. I want every second recorded, every witness identified, every precedent researched. Media team draft statement ready in 30 minutes. Focus on systemic retail discrimination. Frame this as institutional change catalyst. Corporate social responsibility launch the Minority Retail Investment Fund immediately. $500 million. Make it hurt their competitors' pride. Each conversation transforms personal humiliation into strategic corporate warfare. Amara doesn't raise her voice above conversational levels. She doesn't need volume when precision cuts deeper. Meanwhile, Victoria celebrates her victory with colleagues like a general who just won a decisive battle. "You should have seen her face when I threw that fake card on the floor," Victoria laughs with genuine delight. Some people need harsh lessons about knowing their place in society. She calls store owner Margaret Bellecourt with triumphant confidence, spinning her narrative, protecting brand integrity from unsuitable customers who threaten their exclusive reputation. Margaret, currently sipping wine on her Hampton estate, barely listens to Victoria's detailed report. Her mind focuses on upcoming dinner party preparations rather than store management details. "Use your best judgment, Victoria," Margaret dismisses with distracted authority. "That's exactly why I pay you such generous compensation." Victoria's confidence reaches stratospheric levels. She's convinced herself she's a heroic guardian defending luxury retail standards against inappropriate intrusion. She starts planning her evening celebration champagne dinner, expensive shopping, maybe even a social media post about maintaining excellence. Her phone buzzes with a Google alert notification. "Sterling Dynamics CEO trending." She dismisses it without reading. Why would she care about some random technology company? The irony would be hilarious if it weren't about to detonate her entire existence. Victoria has no idea her victory is broadcasting to millions in real time. Amara returns to the sales floor radiating supernatural composure that unnerves everyone present. She walks directly to the boutique's most prestigious display case, where a magnificent pink diamond necklace catches light like captured fire. The price tag reads $890,000 in elegant script. "This piece," Amara says clearly, pointing at the necklace with steady fingers. "I'll purchase it immediately." She places her black American Express Centurion card on the marble counter with deliberate precision. The metallic sound echoes through the boutique like a challenge thrown down before combat. Victoria's face contorts through multiple emotions: surprise, rage, and something approaching panic. Her carefully constructed victory begins crumbling like a sandcastle facing incoming tide. "I already explained our comprehensive policies regarding exclusive merchandise." Victoria's voice climbs higher with each word. "That particular piece requires extensive pre-qualification protocols that you clearly haven't completed." "Then qualify me now." "You need to demonstrate appropriate purchasing progression," Victoria insists desperately. "Start with smaller pieces. Work your way up gradually. Prove your commitment to our brand values over time." She guides Amara away from the premium section, like she's redirecting traffic around an accident scene. Perhaps something under $10,000? More suitable for customers building their jewelry collections gradually? Victoria emphasizes building like she's addressing a child learning basic financial responsibility. I want the pink diamond necklace. Victoria signals her security guards with subtle hand gestures that Amara intercepts and memorizes. Two large men approach with obvious reluctance. Their instincts rebel against threatening a woman who hasn't committed any actual offense. Gentlemen, we have a problematic customer making unrealistic demands beyond her obvious means. Victoria explains with authority that brooks no argument. She's disrupting our legitimate clients and creating an uncomfortable atmosphere. Guard Martinez studies Amara's composed demeanor. Nothing about her suggests criminal intent or aggressive behavior. But Victoria signs his paychecks and controls his employment future. Ma'am, Martinez says gently, maybe you could consider— Call the police immediately, Victoria interrupts with escalating hysteria. I want her removed for trespassing and harassment of our valued customers. The remaining boutique patrons pull out smartphones instinctively. Modern reflexes kick in. When drama unfolds, people record evidence. Victoria notices the proliferating cameras and loses complete control. No photography permitted. Strict store policy. This is a private business matter. But phones keep clicking. Social media posts multiply exponentially. #BellaCourt hashtags start appearing in feeds across Manhattan's Upper East Side. Emma watches in growing horror as her boss destroys everything the store has built over decades. She wants to intervene but fears losing her job during a brutal economic climate. One security guard asks Victoria if she's absolutely certain about calling police. Victoria's paranoia mutates into full-blown accusations that would embarrass conspiracy theorists. She grabs Martinez's uniform sleeve with desperate fingers, her perfectly manicured nails leaving wrinkles in the fabric. She's definitely using a stolen credit card, Victoria declares with the certainty of someone who's lost all connection to reality. I'm absolutely certain this is organized fraud, probably part of a sophisticated criminal ring targeting luxury retailers. Her whispered explanation carries across the silent boutique like she's announcing it through a megaphone. Every customer hears every accusatory word. Martinez studies Amara's calm expression and perfect posture. Nothing about her demeanor suggests criminal behavior or fraudulent intent. If anything, she appears more composed than most legitimate customers facing routine transactions. But Victoria's hysteria intensifies like a feedback loop amplifying itself. Ma'am, I require your complete legal name and employee identification number, Amara requests with polite firmness. Absolutely refused! Victoria clutches her manager's badge like a protective talisman. Corporate policy strictly protects employee privacy from harassment by difficult customers attempting intimidation tactics. She stages another theatrical whisper about credit card fraud prevention protocols, while staring directly at Amara like she's identified a dangerous fugitive. Every word functions as a public accusation designed to humiliate and isolate. More customers abandon their shopping and flee toward the exits. BellaCourt's elegant atmosphere disintegrates into uncomfortable chaos that drives away legitimate business. Emma approaches her manager with trembling desperation. 3 years of employment hang in the balance, but her conscience demands action. Victoria, maybe we should just process the sale normally. Shut your mouth, Victoria snaps with vicious authority. Question my management decisions again, and you'll be collecting unemployment benefits tomorrow morning. Emma retreats like a wounded animal, tears forming despite her attempts at professional composure. Victoria pulls out her personal smartphone and dials 911 with theatrical urgency. Her voice transforms into official concern when the operator answers. Police emergency? This is Victoria Blackwell from BellaCourt Fine Jewelry, 847 Madison Avenue. I need officers immediately for suspicious credit card activity in progress. Possible fraud case requiring investigation. She photographs Amara's identification documents with her phone camera while maintaining eye contact. Security documentation for our corporate legal department. Victoria explains to the confused guards. I maintain the absolute highest standards at this establishment, Victoria announces to the remaining customers, like she's delivering a campaign speech. I will never be intimidated by aggressive behavior or fraudulent schemes designed to exploit our reputation. Amara hasn't raised her voice once during the entire encounter. She stands motionless, studying Victoria like a scientist observing a fascinating but dangerous specimen under laboratory conditions. Police sirens wail outside, and Victoria's triumph tastes like victory champagne. Officers Martinez and Chen push through the boutique's glass doors, their presence instantly transforming the space's energy from retail luxury to criminal investigation. Victoria rushes toward them like a drowning woman spotting rescue boats on distant horizons. Officers, thank God you arrived so quickly, Victoria gasps with relief that sounds genuinely grateful. I have a serious fraudulent credit card situation requiring immediate law enforcement intervention. She gestures dramatically toward Amara like she's identifying a dangerous fugitive who just attempted armed robbery. She's been acting extremely suspicious since entering our establishment, Victoria continues with growing confidence. Demanding access to merchandise far beyond her obvious financial capabilities, presenting questionable identification, refusing to accept appropriate alternatives. Officer Martinez surveys the scene with trained eyes. A composed, well-dressed woman stands quietly near expensive displays, while a frantic manager points accusatory fingers and makes wild claims about criminal activity. His police instincts scream contradiction. Ma'am, what specific crimes has this customer committed? Martinez asks carefully. Credit card fraud, identity theft, probably organized retail crime. Victoria's voice climbs toward hysteria. Look at her appearance versus the merchandise she's demanding. Does this seem legitimate to you? Officer Chen examines the Black American Express Centurion card with professional interest. His wealthy brother-in-law carries an identical card. Chen recognizes the authentic weight, the precise craftsmanship, the subtle security features that make counterfeiting nearly impossible. She claims this is real, but our systems detected irregularities, Victoria lies with increasing desperation. She's probably got accomplices waiting outside in getaway vehicles. Amara's phone buzzes constantly with incoming notifications. Her screen lights up repeatedly, thousands of comments, news outlet interview requests, viral hashtags exploding across social media platforms. Victoria notices the suspicious phone activity with fresh paranoia coursing through her bloodstream. See that constant communication? Victoria points at the buzzing device like she's identified smoking gun evidence. Obviously coordinating with her criminal network, probably planning their next target. She demands the officers confiscate Amara's phone as evidence of ongoing conspiracy. Her desperation stinks like fear sweat despite the confident words pouring from her mouth. Emma whispers to Marcus behind the jewelry counter. This feels completely wrong. She's destroying everything. Martinez studies both women with growing certainty about who represents the real problem here. One remains calm under extreme pressure and false accusations. The other spirals into increasingly wild conspiracy theories without supporting evidence. Ma'am, Martinez addresses Amara directly, his tone respectful and professional. What's your occupation? The simple question hangs in the boutique's charged atmosphere like a bomb with visible countdown timer. Are you seeing what I'm seeing here? What should happen next? Victoria leans forward eagerly, absolutely certain the answer will vindicate her paranoid theories and expose the elaborate fraud she's convinced herself she's uncovered. She's about to discover the catastrophic difference between perception and reality. Amara's three-word answer will detonate Victoria's entire world beyond repair. Target feeling, explosive catharsis. I'm Sterling Dynamics founder and chief executive officer. The words detonate like grenades in the boutique's crystalline silence. Victoria's face cycles through confusion, disbelief, and dawning terror as her brain struggles to process information that contradicts everything she assumed. Officer Martinez yanks out his smartphone immediately. Google search. Sterling Dynamics CEO Amara Sterling. His screen floods with Forbes magazine covers, congressional testimony footage, and Fortune 500 rankings. $12 billion in annual revenue. Government defense contracts. Technology empire spanning 3 continents. Holy shit, Officer Chen whispers, peering over his partner's shoulder at the search results. Victoria's knees buckle slightly as reality crashes through her delusions. No, that's completely impossible. You're lying. We were considering acquiring Bellecourt's parent company, Luxford Holdings. Amara continues with surgical precision that cuts through Victoria's denial. $4.5 billion cash offer, 45% above current market valuation. She emphasizes the past tense, like a judge pronouncing a death sentence. Your performance today has been remarkably illuminating, Amara states with the calm authority of someone accustomed to boardroom warfare. We conduct comprehensive cultural due diligence on all potential acquisitions. Your behavior represents exactly what Sterling Dynamics cannot integrate into our corporate value system. Victoria's world tilts on its axis as she realizes the magnitude of her catastrophic error. Amara raises her phone, displaying the live social media feed that's been broadcasting every moment. The numbers climbing in real time tell their own story. 62,000 viewers watching live. Comments exploding faster than human eyes can read, major news outlets requesting immediate interviews. This discrimination incident is being broadcast globally. Victoria's voice cracks like breaking china. Luxford Holdings' stock price has dropped 21% in the last 90 minutes. Amara reads from her screen with clinical detachment. After-hours trading suggests complete market panic. Officer Martinez steps between the women as the situation's true scope becomes clear. Dr. Sterling, are you pressing formal charges for discrimination and harassment? Victoria panics completely, her professional facade disintegrating like sugar in acid rain. Wait! Stop! This is all a terrible misunderstanding. I can process your purchase immediately with my most sincere apologies. She scrambles toward the floor where her own actions left the black card scattered like worthless trash. Her designer heel catches in marble grout lines, and she stumbles pathetically while reaching for redemption. Please, Dr. Sterling, Victoria begs from her knees, holding the card upward like a peace offering. I was just following standard security protocols. I didn't know who you were. You knew exactly who I was, Amara replies with quiet devastation. A black woman you felt safe humiliating in public. Emma approaches with hands shaking like autumn leaves. Dr. Sterling, I'm so deeply sorry. This behavior doesn't represent our true values. Actually, Emma, this represents your values perfectly. Amara's voice remains gentle, but absolutely final. This demonstrates exactly who you become when you believe no one important is watching. The boutique's atmosphere crackles with the electricity of a world fundamentally shifting on its axis, but Amara's real punishment for Victoria is just beginning to unfold. Let me continue expanding this section to meet the target. Victoria's phone starts buzzing with incoming calls from corporate headquarters. She stares at the caller ID CEO Margaret Bellecourt with growing dread. Answer it, Amara suggests mildly. Victoria's hand trembles as she accepts the call on speakerphone. Margaret's voice crackles with fury that's been building during her emergency flight from the Hamptons. Victoria, what the hell is happening at my store? My phone is exploding with calls about some discrimination scandal. Mrs. Bellecourt, I can explain everything. Explain why our company's stock is in free fall. Explain why CNN is calling for interviews. Explain why #Bellecourt discrimination is the #1 trending topic on Twitter. Victoria's mouth opens and closes like a fish gasping for oxygen. No words emerge. Amara speaks into the phone's microphone. Mrs. Bellecourt, this is Dr. Amara Sterling, CEO of Sterling Dynamics. We were prepared to acquire your parent company for $4.5 billion, past tense. Silence stretches like a taut wire ready to snap. "Oh, God," Margaret whispers. "Oh, my God, what have you done, Victoria?" The call ends with digital finality. Victoria stares at her phone like it just delivered news of her own death. The digital explosion begins with algorithmic precision. Within 90 minutes, hashtag Bellacore discrimination reaches 2.8 million views across all social media platforms. The video spreads like wildfire through corporate networks, university campuses, and civil rights organizations worldwide. CNN leads evening broadcasts with the story. NBC assigns their top investigative team. Fox News debates the incident for 3 hours straight. International media outlets pick up the narrative. BBC, Reuters, Al Jazeera all feature the discrimination caught on camera. Luxford Holdings' stock price craters 23% overnight, wiping out $1.2 billion in market capitalization before trading halts trigger automatic circuit breakers. Emergency board meetings convene via video conference as executives scramble to contain apocalyptic damage spreading through their corporate empire. CEO Harrison Luxford abandons his Monaco yacht immediately, chartering a Gulfstream G650 for emergency transport back to New York. His phone burns with crisis management calls from every department head. "Sir, we're facing complete brand annihilation," his communications director reports during the transatlantic flight. Social media sentiment analysis shows 96% negative responses. Organized boycott campaigns are forming across major cities. Celebrity endorsements are being withdrawn. Influencer partnerships are terminating contracts. The corporate death spiral accelerates beyond human control. Sterling Dynamics' media team releases a statement that becomes the gold standard for corporate crisis communication. Today's incident at Bellacourt Fine Jewelry exemplifies systemic discrimination plaguing American luxury retail. While we originally considered acquiring Luxford Holdings, we cannot support organizations that tolerate institutional racism. Sterling Dynamics withdraws all acquisition interest and redirects our investment toward minority-owned luxury businesses. We're immediately launching a $500 million fund supporting diverse entrepreneurs who understand that human dignity transcends demographics. The statement garners 12 million shares within 6 hours. Margaret Bellacourt races back from the Hamptons in her Bentley, hands shaking as she watches viral footage on repeat. The woman she trusted to manage her life's work just destroyed everything with a single act of cruelty. She calls Amara's office personally, voice breaking with desperate apologies. "Dr. Sterling, please understand. Victoria's behavior doesn't represent our company values." "Mrs. Bellacourt," Amara interrupts with surgical gentleness, "this represents your values exactly. Your manager felt comfortable humiliating me because your institutional culture enabled such behavior. Individual apologies cannot repair systemic discrimination." The conversation records with Margaret's permission. When Amara posts the audio, it generates 15 million views and becomes required listening in business school ethics courses. Legal experts flood cable news discussing federal discrimination law implications. The Justice Department announces comprehensive reviews of luxury retail practices across major metropolitan shopping districts. Civil rights attorneys contact Amara's legal team offering pro bono federal case support. Victoria faces immediate termination without severance pay, benefits, or positive references. Corporate housing lease cancellation follows within hours. Company credit cards freeze automatically. Security guards escort her from the building while carrying personal items in a cardboard box as reporters document her walk of shame. The boutique's other customers face social media identification and career consequences. The pearl-wearing woman who nodded approvingly at Victoria's discrimination loses 2 non-profit board positions when her identity emerges. Her country club membership gets reviewed pending investigation. Emma receives 17 job offers from competing luxury retailers impressed by her moral courage during the crisis. She accepts a management position at Tiffany & Company with a 60% salary increase and explicit authority over diversity initiatives. Sterling Dynamics' stock price surges 8%, as investors applaud the company's principled stance against discrimination. Competitor luxury brands rush emergency diversity statements trying to distance themselves from Bellecourt's toxic reputation. Industry trade publications publish exposé articles about discriminatory practices that have festered like infected wounds for decades. The Retail Industry Leaders Association calls emergency meetings to address systemic bias before other companies face similar viral destruction. Business schools scramble to develop case study materials. Harvard Business School announces the incident will anchor their ethics curriculum. Stanford Graduate School of Business schedules emergency seminars about corporate social responsibility in the digital age. The Bellecourt case becomes required reading for MBA students studying crisis management, corporate ethics, and the intersection of social justice with business strategy. International luxury conglomerates institute immediate policy reviews. Secret shopper programs emerge to test store cultures regularly. The sterling standard enters business vocabulary as shorthand for treating all customers with dignity, regardless of appearance or assumptions. Federal legislation gets fast-tracked through Congress, requiring comprehensive bias training for all customer-facing employees in establishments exceeding $5 million annual revenue. The Retail Dignity Act establishes financial penalties for discriminatory practices and creates federal funding for cultural competency programs. The transformation ripples beyond retail into healthcare, banking, hospitality, and real estate. Corporate executives worldwide study the case as a cautionary tale about how viral humiliation can destroy decades of careful brand building overnight. But Victoria's personal consequences have barely begun to unfold. Victoria's wrongful termination lawsuit becomes a masterclass in legal self-destruction. She claims discrimination based on unrealistic performance standards and hostile work environment created by social media harassment. The irony escapes her completely. Her first attorney reviews the viral footage for exactly 18 minutes before withdrawing from representation. The evidence is overwhelming, undeniable, recorded from 17 different camera angles by customers and security systems. "Ma'am, this case is unwinnable," he explains with brutal honesty. "You're documented committing textbook discrimination. No jury would side with you." Employment lawyers across Manhattan refuse her calls. Her name triggers instant rejection. Legal practices won't risk their reputations defending obvious discrimination captured in high-definition video. "No one will touch this case," her final attorney explains during their last meeting. "You've become litigation poison. Insurance companies won't cover discrimination this blatant." Personal bankruptcy arrives with mathematical inevitability. Legal consultation fees devour her savings account. Court filing costs drain her checking account. Her luxury Upper East Side apartment mortgage enters foreclosure within 90 days. The property she once bragged about to colleagues gets listed for emergency liquidation sale. Victoria packs her designer belongings into cardboard boxes while process servers deliver additional lawsuit notifications. Social media vigilantes conduct digital archaeology on her employment history. Previous discrimination incidents surface like buried evidence at crime scenes. A disturbing pattern emerges across her 15-year retail career. Maria Santos remembers being accused of credit card fraud at Nordstrom when Victoria worked there as assistant manager. David Kim describes being followed by security after Victoria flagged him as suspicious merchandise risk at Saks Fifth Avenue. Jennifer Washington recalls Victoria demanding additional verification for her legitimate American Express card at Bergdorf Goodman. 15 similar complaints spanning multiple luxury retailers build into a devastating class action lawsuit. Victoria's discrimination wasn't isolated. It was systematic, calculated, and repeated across her entire career. She attempts a public apology tour that backfires with spectacular cringe-worthy results. Morning television interviews become viral compilation videos as Victoria blames everyone except herself. "I was just protecting store assets," she tells Good Morning America host Robin Roberts, "following established company policies. How was I supposed to know she was actually important?" The clip explodes across social media for all the wrong reasons. How was I supposed to know she was important? Becomes a meme highlighting the fundamental problem treating human beings differently based on assumed social worth. Victoria moves to rural Ohio with relatives who barely tolerate her presence. She works overnight shifts at a 24-hour gas station under her maiden name, hoping to avoid recognition. Former Bellecourt colleagues pretend ignorance when she attempts contact through social media. Her LinkedIn profile gets deactivated after harassment complaints. Her professional network evaporates like morning dew. The luxury retail industry creates Victoria Protocols comprehensive bias training programs named directly after her case. Her photograph appears in corporate sensitivity workshops as the ultimate example of career-destroying discrimination. Background checks reveal her viral infamy immediately during job application processes. Even discount retail chains reject her employment applications. She becomes permanently unemployable in her chosen profession. Mental health deterioration follows predictably. Depression, anxiety, and social isolation compound as she exists in a prison constructed from her own prejudice, maintained by stubborn pride, and locked from the inside with rusty keys of unrepentant racism. Meanwhile, Amara's strategic response creates transformation waves far beyond retail boundaries. The Bellecourt incident becomes retail's equivalent of a regulatory earthquake, sending shockwaves through every major luxury brand worldwide. Corporate boardrooms transform into war rooms as executives realize that discriminatory cultures represent existential threats in the social media age. Nordstrom implements emergency bias training within 72 hours of the viral explosion. Saks Fifth Avenue hires McKinsey consultants to audit their customer service protocols. Bergdorf Goodman establishes customer experience oversight committees with direct reporting lines to executive leadership. Sterling Dynamics partners strategically with the NAACP, Urban League, and Anti-Defamation League to create comprehensive industry-wide discrimination reporting systems. Anonymous tip lines emerge, allowing customers to report biased treatment without fear of retaliation or identification. Harvard Business School's ethics department works around the clock developing comprehensive case study materials. The Sterling Bellecourt incident, corporate social responsibility in the digital age, becomes required curriculum for MBA students studying crisis management and ethical leadership. The Amara Sterling Standard enters business vocabulary as shorthand for maintaining dignity under pressure while responding strategically to injustice rather than emotionally. Leadership conferences feature her congressional testimony about systemic discrimination embedded in American luxury retail culture. Federal legislation advances through Congress with bipartisan support, a rarity in contemporary politics. The Retail Dignity Act establishes mandatory bias training requirements for customer-facing employees in establishments exceeding $5 million annual revenue. Financial penalties for discriminatory practices fund cultural competency programs nationwide. International luxury conglomerates adopt emergency policy reforms inspired directly by Amara's case. Louis Vuitton, Hermès, and Chanel establish secret shopper programs testing store cultures regularly across their American locations. Corporate executives understand that viral humiliation can obliterate decades of careful brand cultivation overnight. Young entrepreneurs of color cite the incident as inspiration for launching competing luxury brands. Sterling Dynamics Minority Business Investment Fund receives over 12,000 applications within 6 months, creating an entirely new ecosystem of inclusive luxury retailers who understand that excellence transcends demographics. The transformation ripples through healthcare systems, banking institutions, and hospitality industries. Corporate boardrooms worldwide study video footage as executives grasp that systematic bias represents massive financial liability in an interconnected global economy. University business programs add discrimination risk assessment to their core curricula. Students learn to identify institutional bias as a quantifiable threat to shareholder value and corporate sustainability. 6 months later, an unexpected encounter tests whether authentic change actually occurred. 6 months after the incident that redefined an industry, Amara enters Cartier's Fifth Avenue flagship store. This time, her reputation precedes her arrival like royal fanfare announcing visiting nobility. Red carpet treatment unfolds immediately. Store management greets her personally. Private viewing rooms open exclusively for her selection. Dom Perignon appears in crystal flutes. Personal shoppers compete for her attention with carefully curated presentations. The contrast feels surreal and deeply troubling. She examines a stunning Colombian emerald bracelet worth $340,000, while reflecting on the vast chasm between her current experience and Victoria's calculated cruelty. The differential treatment highlights systemic problems that extend far beyond individual prejudice. How many brilliant minds face Victoria's discrimination without billion-dollar platforms for defense? How many potential entrepreneurs get discouraged by retail humiliation before they can build empires? How many dreams die in boutiques where bias masquerades as business protocol? The questions haunt her success. The original Bellecourt fine jewelry location now houses the Sterling Institute for Retail Excellence, a comprehensive diversity training center funded entirely by the boutique's liquidation proceeds. Victoria's former workplace teaches inclusive customer service to luxury retail workers from across the nation. Emma Watson thrives as manager of Amara's personal shopping service for Sterling Dynamics executives. Her career flourished exponentially after choosing moral courage over comfortable silence during the crisis. She speaks regularly at retail industry conferences about recognizing discrimination patterns and finding strength to intervene when colleagues behave badly. Victoria Blackwell's story becomes required reading in business ethics courses nationwide, a cautionary tale about how personal prejudices can detonate careers and destroy companies with nuclear efficiency. Graduate students analyze her downfall as a masterclass in consequences meeting choices. Amara's charitable foundation launches scholarship programs specifically supporting minority students pursuing business degrees. She mentors young entrepreneurs facing systemic barriers, teaching them to transform obstacles into strategic advantages through patient planning and precise execution. Her approach remains consistent across all situations. Respond strategically rather than emotionally, document everything thoroughly, build alternative systems that reward inclusive behavior rather than simply punishing discrimination. The Bellecourt incident transcended personal vindication entirely. It demonstrated how strategic responses to injustice create lasting institutional change that benefits countless future victims. Amara leveraged her unique position to highlight ongoing discrimination while simultaneously building practical solutions. She never sought revenge. She pursued comprehensive reform. The distinction matters profoundly. Individual bias training sessions happen daily across luxury retail chains. Corporate executives review customer interaction footage regularly, like military commanders studying battlefield intelligence. The industry learned that discriminatory cultures represent existential threats requiring immediate remediation. Amara's calculated victory created expanding ripple effects, still generating change. Young entrepreneurs launch businesses inspired by her strategic example. Customers feel empowered to document and report discriminatory treatment without fear. The retail landscape shifts toward genuine inclusivity rather than performative corporate gestures designed for public relations purposes. Personal humiliation became institutional transformation through strategic thinking and patient execution. Dignity defended creates change. Dignity ignored creates destruction. If this story of justice and consequences resonated with you, smash that like button right now. Your engagement helps us expose more cases where discrimination meets devastating karma. Subscribe to Beat Stories for weekly deep dives into real situations where hidden power players face bias and respond with life-changing consequences. We document verified cases where assumptions about people based on appearance or background lead to massive corporate failures and personal downfalls. Like this video, if you believe dignity matters regardless of demographics. Subscribe if you want to see more cases where bias meets brutal consequences. Comment below sharing your own experiences with discrimination, or tell us which upcoming story you want us to investigate next.